My name's Chris Molinar, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about the top 10 lead generation ideas for real estate agents. And the best part about this, these methods are all 100% free. In order of most priority to least priority, in order of most effective to least effective, at the top of the list, we have your past clients. Now, these are people that have already trusted you in real estate. If you've been in real estate for a long time and it's been a while since you've reached out to all of your past clients, reach out to them and say, thank you for the business that you gave me 5 years ago. It's been such a long time. What's new or what's not new? These people know you personally, and these people have already dealt with you. Regardless of how the transaction went, you obviously got the job done, and so if you keep in touch, they already know what to expect from you, and they are more likely to use you again and or refer you business. If you don't have past clients and you're new to the business, you could also go to previous coworkers or anybody that you've worked with in some sort of a professional environment, people that can attest to your character. Next on the list is your sphere of influence. Now, these are anybody that you know them personally and they know you, and you would wave and say hi to them or stop and have a conversation if you were to see them in public. If you haven't organized your sphere of influence list, I highly recommend you do that as the most important thing for you to build your foundation in this business. So simply go through all of your social media accounts, go through your cell phone contact list, think through all of the extracurricular activities that you've ever been involved with in the local market that you currently serve, and then go ahead through as well all of the friends of your closest friends that you already know that you're maybe not connected with yet, and then as well go through all of the friends of your closest family members that you already know that you're not connected with yet, and make the highest quality list and the biggest list you possibly can, and this will be your gold mine in real estate that will continue to serve you and continue to help you build upon the foundation one brick at a time in your real estate business. Next on the list is networking and adding people to your sphere of influence. You can already see a theme here. The top 3 on this list are all based around the people that know, like, and trust you. So networking, adding people to your sphere of influence would be what I consider a B+ activity. Your sphere of influence is an A activity, and your past clients and referral sources are AAA activity. So really, you could do infinite activity within this networking activity, which is what I recommend. Either in-person networking events, or you could go to a Facebook group, or you could go to LinkedIn to connect with other business owners or to connect with other people that have similar interests to you and start creating conversations and taking online conversations to offline and taking offline conversations in person to online and creating long-term relationships and keeping touch with these people, adding them to your sphere of influence. Next on the list, however, is more of an immediate result-based activity, although it is not as high priority as networking, and that is for sale by owners. Now, of course, this is quicker paydays, so to speak, because these people have already raised their hand and said, I need to sell my house. So if you learn how to talk to for sale by owners, if you keep in touch with for sale by owners and add value to for sale by owners, and you do this consistently, you will be in the right place at the right time. When I first started in the real estate business, I called all the for sale by owners for I think a year and a half with very limited results, knowing that it was a proven strategy that does work. It wasn't until I'd called them for about a year and a half, I only took 2 listings in that first period of time. One of them didn't sell, and one of them was a tough listing and finally did sell. But after a year and a half of doing this activity, I finally listed 3 for sale by owners in one day. The light bulb went off. I don't know what changed, but my confidence, my skill development got to a point where it was starting to work. The following 12 months from that period forward, I did 55 transactions, 75% of which were with for sale by owners. And this was only, I think, my 2nd or 3rd year in the business. And I didn't have a sphere of influence when I started. I knew very few people, and very few of those people supported my real estate business in the beginning. So this is one of the ways that you can get paid early on. Next on the list is expired listings. Now, of course, in Canada, it's technically illegal to pursue expired listings directly based on MLS information. However, if you're constantly calling for sale by owners, if you're out networking with your sphere of influence, if you're out knocking on doors, etc., you're always going to bump into people who had their house on the market previously that are going to inquire and ask you real estate questions. And so being able to handle these scenarios will definitely put you in positions where you can earn more business as well. And if you live in the US and some other markets in Canada, this is a viable strategy that you can use to directly pursue expired listings. And these people as well need to sell their house now because obviously they had it on the market before. There is some motivation there. Next on the list is sign calls. The key to this thought is the fact that you need listings to get sign calls. Now, I mentioned in a previous video that you should focus on working with sellers rather than working with buyers, because ultimately, even if you want to work with more buyers, what do buyers ultimately want? They don't want a real estate agent, believe it or not. They want listings, and the more listings you have, the more buyers you will attract. And really quick, short idea on this thought of sign calls is the fact that sign calls also bring more seller leads sometimes, of course. And you should have some standards for the buyers that you work with. You need to make sure that you pre-qualify, and you also should focus on buyers that need to buy your listings, sellers that you've sold their house and they need to buy, and then AAA pre-qualified buyers. If you're going to be picking up sign calls, make sure that you ask the right questions and make sure that you educate them properly so that you have mutual understanding, mutual respect, and you've set expectations properly so that they know that you are their agent. Because if they're calling multiple signs, you got to make sure that you've developed a relationship with them of trust, that you are in a working relationship on a move forward basis. Next on the list is agent referrals. Now, if you're a new agent and you're not taking a lot of listings and you're connected with at your company some other top producers that don't have time to service their own sign calls, you might be able to have conversations with them and offer to help service the sign calls that they have come in that they don't have time to serve, and you might pay them a 25% referral fee to do this. Now, of course, you can also do this agent referral relationships with agents that are not in your local market. And the reason why this is such a high quality activity is because if you get an agent referral from an agent in another city, the leads that you get are usually pre-qualified because you're talking with another agent who might have already sold their house and they need to buy in your market, or vice versa. Next on the list is open houses. Now, open houses fall this low on the list mainly because you can't control how many people come to your open house. You can do as many open houses as you want, but you don't always know how many people are going to come. However, if you're going to do open houses, you can drive traffic to your open house, and check out this video if you haven't already on how to drive additional traffic to your open house. But the reason why it is a valuable activity is because you are meeting people in person, face to face, belly to belly, the old-fashioned way, and that is still today the best way to build relationships with people. Next on the list is what I call office leads. Now, office leads are essentially online open house leads. Now, yes, technically you still do need to pay for this, and I know that I said that the items on this list are free, but sometimes there are other agents or team leaders or broker owners who will spend their own money to generate these leads and offer them to you on a fee split basis. Or you can pay for them yourself, but it belongs on the list because it is something that agents will do. Now, I say this activity is a little bit better than cold calling, and this activity is only slightly less than an open house. And the reason why is because you're not meeting these people in person, but a lot of times there's a large volume of people that you can call on these lists. It's also a finite number. You will run out of people to call eventually unless you continue to buy new leads. There is some gold in this list, but you have to make a lot of phone calls in order to find that gold, and you still do have to pay for these people's contact information. So if you haven't done all of the activities leading up to this that I've mentioned prior to this, then this is a pretty low impact activity compared to the rest. Next on the list is just listed and just sold cold doors and cold phones. Now, notable mention on this activity: if you haven't door knocked 5 doors on either side of the street and 10 doors across the street from your own primary residence, then you could be missing out on an opportunity to add some of your neighbors to your sphere of influence, because you know what? You already see these people all the time. You know them by face, you wave at them, you talk to them every so often. So if you were to just introduce yourself and let them know that you're in real estate, that could be an opportunity to do business with people that are in your neighborhood. I know we sold our house last fall and I ended up listing neighbors on each side afterwards. So I ended up leaving the neighborhood and selling my own house and 2 other houses that were right next door to me, which was a pretty cool bonus. But you can also do this with any of your listings and any of your sales. And the beautiful part of this is, guess what? Your seller has that same relationship with all of their neighbors. So the closer the proximity to your own listing or your own sale, the higher the quality is of the people that you talk to. However, the other beautiful thing about this activity is the fact that you will never run out of people to talk to. But as I'd mentioned before, if you're a little bit more strategic about the networking that you do, that is a B+ activity activity where I would say that knocking on doors is probably a C activity. I will say this though too, if you go out and knock on doors, and let's say you knock on 10,000 doors, that is probably the best sales training that you could ever get. It is better sales training than you could ever possibly pay for with a coach. And I can honestly admit that I did this when I first started in the business. I live in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, however, and this activity would typically happen in November and December when I ran out of people to talk to. And guess what? It gets pretty cold here at that time of year. So if you follow an online strategy for networking, it's probably a better use of your time. However, this doesn't cost you anything. I will say my numbers for this were, I would knock on 4,000 doors, talk to 1,000 people to earn $10,000 in commission. Now granted, if you did this for a very long period of time and you built a big database and you had a very creative way to keep in touch with this database, examples of Ricky Carruth that does this very well. However, it will take you, 8 months to a year to build significant momentum to earn significant income doing this. Now, this can be the most powerful activity with momentum long term, but most agents need to eat sooner than 8 to 12 months in building momentum. So I recommend if you're gonna do an activity like this, make sure that you're implementing all of the others before this as well. Do not skip out on those. I will mention as well, when I was talking to for sale by owners, I probably had to talk to 65 people to take a listing and get it sold. When I was talking to my sphere of influence, I probably had to talk to 30 to 35 people to take a listing and get it sold or to get a buyer under contract. So just remember, prioritize your activities, track your numbers so that you can calculate your dollars per hour, and then maybe look at, once you develop momentum in your business, maybe outsource some other things so that you can focus primarily on lead generation activity. And of course, finally, the last on the list is advertising, and I'll be doing a video shortly as well, coming up as well, on the top 10 advertising lists. So check out that video next for the best return on investment for your advertising dollars as well. So thanks for being here today. Like, comment, and subscribe to this video, and I'll see you on this video next. Have a fantastic day.